Welcome to another episode of the NMPA Prop Talk. Today, we're diving into the world of propellers with a very special guest who has been in the propeller industry for decades. But first, I want to give a big shout out to everyone working in the propulsion industry, whether you're repairing props, whether you're selling props, or whether you're designing propulsion systems. Your work keeps the marine industry moving, and we really appreciate everything that you do. Now, in this episode of NMPA Prop Talk, 91 years of propeller expertise with New England Propeller. I'm very happy to be here. I'm your host, Mike Jones. I'm president of the NMPA, and I'm also the owner of Coastal Propeller Service in Bridge City, Texas. But today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Doug Peck of New England Propeller. Doug, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
We're good. You know, Doug, I've known you and your dad for a long time, but let's get started with a little background so you can tell our audience about yourself and tell us about the business and how you got started in the marine industry.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to be here. I'm the owner of New England Propeller Inc., not to be confused with New England Propeller Service in Connecticut, which does airplane propellers, because they're always calling us and sending us their emails, and we have to forward them back to them. So we do boat propellers. New England Propeller was founded in 1934 by George Hodder. Obviously, I have not been doing propellers for 91 years, or I'd be really old.
Yeah.
And he was the first Michigan wheel distributor, from what I know, his claim to fame, and this it was confirmed by Michigan Wheel, was that he kind of invented the cup, and then Michigan Wheel adopted that cupping in their own propellers.
Right.
And, we purchased the business from George in 1987 to diversify our welding fabrication company. Back then, our biggest customer was Boston Whaler Commercial Boat Division, and we were doing aluminum fabrication for their commercial boats. And when they moved their operation to Florida, we decided to buy what was at the time a struggling propeller business in Boston, Mass, to supplicate the loss of income we were losing from losing Boston Whaler. Little did we know the shop had a really bad reputation, and our introductory into that was our first boat show that we went to, and almost every customer who walked up to us was complaining about the business being shoddy workmanship and very slow to get product out.
I bet you that caused you a little bit of pause. Right?
Yeah, it's like, what the heck did we do to ourselves? So
exactly.
When Boston Whaler left, I went to Boston, and my new job became to learn how to repair propellers.
There you go.
At the time, there were no MRI machines, there was no dynamic balancers, there was no nothing. It was all pitch blocks. And we were a pitch block shop. We didn't even use drop gauges at the time. It was all pitch blocks. So that was my introductory into the propeller business and the propeller. Old school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So thankfully, the NMPA has really helped move us along over the years with networking and learning and training and meeting other people, going to other shops like Bauman Propeller. I went to Bauman Propeller for a week and just hung around their shop to see what kind of work they were doing and how they were doing it, which taught me a lot, as to what I could do and not do with propellers. And went to Frank and Jimmy's down in Florida and saw his shop, and just probably those are two of the big shops I remember, but there's probably other shops I was in too.
Sure.
And so, the relationships through the NMPA, when we bought the business, kind of everybody in the propeller business in New England was at each other's throats because we didn't know each other and we didn't get along. Right. And the NMPA, we started getting together and meeting those competitors and found out that we all liked each other. once we got to know each other personally, and so then that's really helped us and everybody we do business with in the area to get along and to help each other and to be a support for each other instead of instead of the other way around. So, it's a good thing, real good thing.
It is. It is. You mentioned, and I keep going back to this, 91 years in business. That is just a milestone that, I mean, we should all strive for if we're lucky enough. So tell me, what kind of capabilities and services does New England Propeller offer today for their customers?
So we repair props from 10 inches all the way up to 60 inches. Most of our work is on props under 40 inches, but I can handle more. We specialize in high performance sports fish and yachting type vessels. Our shop is equipped with 3 Hale MRI machines, dynamic balancing, Prop Press 360. I have True Prop software on one of our machines. We also offer stainless steel polishing with Vibraprop machines, which gives a really good finish, and the customers like it a lot.
Oh, that's great.
Beyond propellers, we handle shafting up to 3.5 inches, as well as repairs and sales of rudders, struts, and underwater gear. We keep over 5,000 propellers in stock, including Michigan Dynaquads and Dynajets, Acme's, ZF, PowerTech, and Sherrill Marine is going to be our latest inventory endeavor, where we're going to be stocking Sherrill Marine propellers hopefully by April.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
wow, that's quite an operation. Now you mentioned that how the NMPA has helped your business, and you elaborated a little bit on that. The NMPA was started 30-something years ago, and like you said, when you and your dad first got started, it was just pitch blocks. Is there anything else the NMPA has done that you could elaborate on a little bit more?
absolutely. The NMPA has been instrumental in our growth. Every meeting and seminar offers something new to learn, whether it's industry trends or technology or networking with other professionals. Like I said, getting to know other shop owners and knowing who to call when you need specific services is invaluable. Just today, I reached out to Miller's Island for a shafting. I had a 30 millimeter shaft with a metric coupling that was worn out and was not going to work. And he was able to give me advice on how to deal with that. And we came up with a good plan for fixing the problem, because you can't get metric couplings.
Yeah. Wow.
They just aren't available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's a great benefit. The old adage goes that a rising tide lifts all ships, and the NMPA is here to help every shop be better. And like you said, learn from each other and find better ways of doing things. And it's kind of a situation when I first got started working for the previous owner of Coastal Propeller. It was a kind of, everybody wanted to protect their industry secrets, but the more and more you talk to, I want to say your competition, you found out there weren't any secrets. People were doing things pretty much the same way. That some people had better tricks and a quicker, more efficient way of doing, repairs or consultation. And we just, like I said, we thought it was a benefit that everybody should get together and share that knowledge, because we all want to be better propeller repair people, especially when we deal with the public and with our consumers. So that's definitely one of the goals that we strive for.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do with this metric shaft is, it's a 30 millimeter shaft, and we're going to take an inch and an eighth American coupling. We're going to turn the shaft down to inch and an eighth where the coupling fits, and rekey it. So make the coupling American on a 30 millimeter shaft.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that was didn't occur to us to do it that way, but we don't usually have this kind of problem we don't do much metric to begin with, and then we've never run into a problem where we had a coupling that we couldn't reuse in a metric. So
I think as we see consumers kind of reach out across the ocean and purchase more and more of these foreign made propellers and propulsion systems, we're going to run into a lot more metric. I know that we've done that here within the last 3-4 years, where we were dealing with standard SAE tapers. Now we're dealing with metric tapers and specialized tapers and things like that we never, 10 years ago, we never dreamed of anything like that.
Right, exactly.
So let me ask you something. Speaking about technology, we're talking about all this new technology that's coming along. What new implementations or new equipment do you have that you've recently purchased there at New England Propeller?
Well, We added not too long ago a 60-inch MRI machine and a prop press 360, probably within the last 5 or 6 years. Um, and I'm continuing. I'm interested in looking at the handheld scanners. I don't know if that quite fits into my business yet, but those may continue to come along where you can scan props with a handheld scanner instead of having to use, a machine where you have to, um, physically put a prop in a scanner and have to manually scan it.
Save a little bit of time removing the propeller, taking it to the shop,
Yeah.
cleaning all the anti-fouling or marine growth, and then it could be a tremendous time saver.
And I have talked to Power Tech about their laser scanner too, because that
Mhm.
if I could load that with inboard propellers, I know they're using it for outboards right now, but
Yes,
if I
sir.
could put bigger propellers in a bigger machine like that, and it automatically would scan them, that would save us time.
Sure.
Manual labor, physically sitting there doing it. And so
Mhm.
I've looked at that. I'm considering a Prop Press 500 in the future.
Oh, wow.
And Randy Hill and I talked about a robotic finishing process for inboard propellers,
Hmm.
where you can use a robot to clean and finish propellers instead of doing it manually.
Sounds very, very interesting. You know, talking about the future and all these things that are coming down the pike, how do you see the current business climate for your industry there in the Northeast?
It's still looking strong. Everybody I know is very busy. We've added 2 new salesmen in 2024. We've picked up quite a few large accounts and a lot of small ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been like straight out all winter. I've been working 7 days a week, which I don't want to do, but I'm concerned about getting everything done by launch time up
Yeah.
here. And our inboard sales have slowed down after COVID, but we kind of expected that was going to happen. We were shipping a lot of props all over the country because we had a lot of inventory and other shops couldn't
Wow.
get inventory. So we had kind of a boom selling inventory during COVID. And now that everybody's replenished, our those inboard sales have kind of come back to normal. But we're also considering a promotional sales on Dynajets because those in general have slowed down a lot. We're looking at our sales records, and so I may have to offer some huge discounts off of Dynajets and try to just clear out some of my older inventory, and make it
Right.
make it more cheaper to buy, for prop shops so that we can trim that down some.
Well, that's one of the benefits of being able to network with the NMPA because there's always somebody looking for something that you have for sale.
Yeah.
And, if they can make a little more profit off of it, I'm sure they'll be very, very happy to receive a phone call or call you on the telephone and say, Doug, I need something special here.
And if you need any outboard props from the 1930s and 1940s, I have a bunch of Michigan ones in the box, brand
In
new.
the box. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, if anybody's looking for that stuff, give me a call.
Well, Doug, let me ask you, looking back over the last 5 years, what changes have you seen in the marine propeller industry?
Well, one of the biggest shifts we're seeing, and I think everybody's seeing it when because I've talked to some other folks, is the rise of high horsepowered outboard engines, which brings a lot of new, heavier stainless steel propellers onto the market, which are more challenging to physically hold and balance, and there's a lot of wear and tear on your body trying to manually sand those things and get them polished up. They
Right.
are they are still fitting in my vibroprop machines if I pull one of my dividers to make a bigger compartment. So we're doing that to get them through the machines. We've also seen an increase in P series and Q series IPS propellers. Those are coming out of some of the new accounts we've gained this year. And at this year's New England Boat Show, the only inboard vessels displayed at the show were 2 Nordic tugs, which had single screw inboards, and ski boats.
Wow.
Everything else was multiple big outboard engines. It was a clear sign where the market's headed.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more pod drives and IPS drives and things like that. And that you mentioned it, I mean, those Zeus stainless steel propellers are extremely heavy,
They
and
sure are.
you don't want to try to manhandle that for too many hours a day. That's for sure. Uh,
You got to spread it out.
yeah, exactly. Doug, where do you think, you've got all this experience. Where do you think the marine industry or the propulsion industry is heading in the next 5 years?
Well, I expect the outboard trend to continue growing, which is why we're becoming a share marine dealer. Those people who are buying these 50-foot boats with 3, 4, 5 engines on them. I mean, they're looking for performance, and the share marine propellers are going to offer more fuel efficiency and just a better overall performing propeller for the vessel. So, you know, that's why I'm taking on the Shero line, and I'm going to stock props, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to, get somebody to try those props when I have them on the shelf
Mm,
and put them on the boat and run them.
yeah. I don't know the trend, but I know that down here in the central Gulf Coast, we're seeing the rise of these diesel outboards now. So the propellers are the same, but because of the lower RPMs of the diesel engines, we're seeing tremendously high pitches, for 300-400 horsepower motors because of you're dealing with a 4,400 RPM wide open throttle instead of a 6,300 RPM wide open throttle that we deal with the four stroke. So we're starting to see a wide variety of outboard propellers in different pitches, different diameters, different blade areas. It's just it's tough to keep up with everything, and like you said, we're trying to please customers just like y'all are, and
Yep.
make sure the propellers are efficient and that they perform, because when a owner operator, when they shell out a bunch of money for a performance vessel, they want it to perform. They just don't want it to sit there and suck fuel. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well,
And the thing with the big stainlesses is there's no pitch blocks, so we're having to do all our heat work basically by eye and with using our tools that we're hand making to see what we're doing while we're doing the heat work, and then from there we go over to the MRI machines and we scan them like we
right.
do an inboard, because we have no other way to really verify where we're at with them, because they're just not going to fit on any of the current pitch blocks we have.
Yeah, and that's another reason why the NMPA is trying to push forward this virtual pitch block library, where people who do have scan machines, they can access the blade profiles, the design lines for some of these propellers that there are no pitch blocks manufactured to repair them. So that's a big push for the NMPA, and we're slowly but surely building our library full of these. And if you're a member, you can access this. So it's I think it's going to help. There again, it's going to help all the propeller shops throughout the United States, and or all the propeller shops who are a member of the NMPA, because we do have some shops that are members that are outside of the United States also. So it's definitely some exciting times ahead for a propeller repair shop in the marine propulsion industry. That's for sure.
And then on the business side of things, we're planning for long-term sustainability by hiring a management consulting firm to help us develop a leadership structure. My goal is to ensure that if anything happens to be, my business will continue to run smoothly for the next 91 years.
Hey, that's a great goal. That is some great thinking. That's really fascinating, Doug. I mean, to have a ownership of a propeller, a repair shop, propeller sales shop that has the longevity of 91 years. I mean, that's just incredible. And kudos to you and your staff and everybody who keeps New England Propeller up and running, and keeping the general consumers happy. That's what it's all about. Delivering on your promises, and just being a service, a great part of the service industry up there in the New England area. Well, I guess that's about all the time we've got, and I really appreciate you being here with us, Doug. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy man, but like I said, we were very glad that you were here with us today, and I just wish you continued success. And like you said, with all your forethought and planning, I have a really good feeling that New England Propeller will be around for another 91 years, even if we're not.
Right. Thanks for having me, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we could talk for hours, but it is time to shut down. And I want again to thank Doug for his time. If you've got any follow-up questions, and I'm sure there will be, you can send them and you can post them to the website. And we'll be looking forward to talking to you sometime soon in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's it for another episode of Prop Talk. And we want to thank you for continuing to educate yourselves with the NMPA. And if you're a propeller repair shop, if you're a propeller manufacturer, or if you're into marine propulsion system design, we want to ask you, why aren't you a member of the NMPA? You can log on to our website, nmpa.net, to learn more and hopefully join up and become a member. We appreciate your time. Until next time, keep grinding. I'm Mike Jones, president of the NMPA. And if you would like to be featured on an upcoming Prop Talk, please reach out to us at info@nmpa.net. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day.